I try my best in everything that I do and succeed in doing, only to be rejected or not given the opportunity or chance in what it is that I'm trying to do. This talk show is one of them. My adult entertainment career, working in the industry, was another. Me being in the army was another. I tried my best in everything I put my mind to. And I've gotten pretty far or close to being a complete success. In some cases, I had success and it was taken away literally overnight. People never give me the chance or opportunity to shine. It is like I'm invisible. And every time I try to defend myself or speak up for myself and advocate for what it is that I'm saying, they just ignore me or overlook me as if they're looking at a wall or I'm talking to a wall. I'm talking to a camera. I've been talking to a camera because this is GayTopix, my life, and this is what my life is. How can I be honest with what's happening to me if I cannot tell my past and my story? Yes, I've been to so many therapists and psychiatrists and been evaluated by so many doctors, but I never needed any medication. I did not find any of those to be helpful, though, because they weren't giving me what I need and what I so desperately desired my entire life for. And that's love. Therapists can hug you. Well, they can, but I'm not sure now with COVID, but a therapist can hug you, but you can't sleep with your therapist. And if you do, that's a problem. I have not had sex in 10 years. 10 years. Well, in October, it'll be 10 years. But you see, that's what I am intending to do, is to separate each part of my life through this series, My Life, is to separate it by decade. And I'm 50 years old. There's a lot. And there's so much that I continue to face. What happened to my face? It used to grace the covers of so many magazines and calendars and seen in so many videos and movies. And I actually saw myself every day. But now that person is gone. I don't even look at myself in the mirror anymore. I can't. My beauty is gone. My youth is gone. My hair is gone. My career is gone. My dog is gone. My best friend. My family. Or that I know of my family. You know, my mother, it always comes back to the mother, doesn't it? Because the mother is the one who brought you into this world. and supposed to, like grandma. When you go to grandma's house, you know everything is going to be good, and you're going to get fed, probably get so many milk and cookies, and know that you're going to have a good time. A mother is supposed to provide that type of nurture, care. My mother never did that. She barely even looked at me herself. And we look so much alike. I don't know why she hated me. I, it's understandable to believe that someone with an addiction can overlook such things, but again, she had 5 children, and I was the only one subject to abuse, and which she saw and committed herself. She should be in jail if she were alive. I knew something was wrong with my mother when I was in high school. That's when everything started to play out. When she went outside the building, we lived in NYCHA projects. And those are the worst conditions here in New York City for anyone to live in. And in fact, any resident will tell you their main goal is to get out of the project. But there would be the cats in the alleyways and stuff like that. And she went outside and picked one up. And then another, and another, and another, and another, and another, until she had 60 cats. 60. 60. In a 3-bedroom apartment. She fed those cats more than she fed us. Or me. But in high school, I was working at McDonald's, so I had more than enough chicken nuggets to feed off on. But when I was younger, I didn't. But the point is, she had 60 cats in a 3-bedroom apartment, and she cared for those cats more than she did us. She fed them more than she fed us. She loved them more than she loved us, or me. I say us because, yeah, some things were similar with my siblings, but to me, it seemed like it was elevated. And, it seemed like it was greater than what they were experiencing. For instance, I never actually got any clothes. I think I told you a story of me wearing 2 left sneakers. But my brothers would get clothes and stuff like that my mother would buy. And the bed was another thing. I remember sleeping on a fold-up bed, for like temporary guests and stuff, but where can you fit 5 boys in a 3-bedroom apartment? Well, 4 boys and 1 girl, because she had to have her own room because she was a girl. And the bedrooms were really small. So scared to go outside, too. They called my building Vietnam because we were always at war with another building. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. I was grateful for my Aunt Rene because she lived across the way in another building, and it gave me something and my little brother to do. Like, I would never know, like, what bus to take or where the Museum of Natural History was if it wasn't for her. But I essentially am living the same life she did, whereas she would travel every day on her own looking for shoes that she would buy for less than $5, or the pocketbook man on 34th Street on the street looking for the right handbag and pocketbook. I used to enjoy going to all those different stores and, looking for things in the dollar store on 34th Street as well, in the Conway on 34th Street, or going to Newark. This is a good story. We got lost in Newark, New Jersey. We're from New York. It was our first time being in Newark. Boy, when I tell you we were scared. We got on this train that looked like a trolley, and it was underground. And we got on a train or trolley, and it only goes one stop. So we got further in. So we waited for the trolley to go back to the previous stop so we can get out. And then we took the bus. Well, I couldn't wait to get back to the PATH train. There's another time she fell off the sidewalk because she too lost her sight. And I would help her, like sign things and look for price tags, and, so I felt like I was a very important person in her life. And she dismissed me. And I haven't heard from her. She knew me since I was 13 years old. I watched her grow into that grandmother figure that I talked about earlier, that's so nurturing, loving, and caring. The irony behind it is that she loves my brother unconditionally. In fact, her son made my brother his best man at his wedding. And yet I wasn't invited. My life has been so painful. And it's a complete reflection of what happened to my eyes. Again, the eyes are the window of the soul. My soul is gone, or what was left of it. I don't, I'm not the same person anymore. I never was that person that people perceive me to be. I'm not some, I'm not to hate it, but sometimes it is annoying, but those loud, obnoxious, queens, and they're screaming and all up close in your ears and all in your face, and I'm like, would you just step aside while you talk to me? This is pre-COVID. You know, I'm not loud, or I'm not gay. Like, you wouldn't even know that I was gay because I don't act in that demeanor. I've been isolated for so long, I don't know what way to act or what way is appropriate. Because each time I was told to act a certain way, it was not who I really was. But why are these people telling me how to act? I should be able to conduct myself in any way because I'm a grown ass man. I'm a person. I have a heart. Oh, sorry. Everything burns. My head is pounding. Why can't it just happen? I don't want to do this because it's triggering the fact of me watching Bill Clinton die. So, oh, I can't do that. You see, I just, shit. I rubbed a towel on the wrong eye and I can spread it. I'm so sick. No, I think I'm not sick because people would misunderstand that phrase too. I just been through a lot and continue to go through a lot. It's a lot all by myself. It's a lot to, all alone. I haven't spoken to my Aunt Rene. Yeah, I think it's like 5 years now. And with the pandemic, it could be longer. I don't know. This pandemic has been going on forever. I'm tired of wearing a mask, but now I have to. I've been given an eye patch. I can't wear that. I there's so much trauma. Yeah, I feel like I've succeeded and I've gotten past it, and perhaps my blindness is a scar. Perhaps my paralyzed arm is another. Perhaps me being sexually abused is another. And being alone is another. Never being in a relationship. Or having so much as a friend. It's the only thing I have is my dog. My dog is very important to me. I need the dog more than the dog needs me. I needed Aunt Renee more than she needed me. There was another time she was robbed, and they took her H&M bag, and it was the only one in their complete stock because I think it was like broken and she had to sew it. And it was a beautiful bag too. I picked it out. And I'm sure if you ask her to this day, she would tell you it was her favorite handbag. And she got robbed, and they literally snatched it because she can't see. And they literally snatched it right out of her hands. And I was the first person she called. And to me, that meant something to me. Like she really cared enough and knew that I could take care of her in that dire situation. I also wrote her various memos and letters to doctors and things like that because, as I said, she was blind. Get this, she got blind because she's a nursing assistant, and a patient hit her over the head with the tray, and she ended up getting a tumor in her brain and eventually went down into her eye, and she lost complete vision in her eye as well. So she had to sue for like compensation, and she never took a day off. That's one thing I could say. And that's the time that I was referencing to earlier, where I was saying that we spent a lot of time together. We're going shopping and eating out at restaurants and traveling the city and knowing how to navigate the city. I can remember being a teenager and taking my little brother out to play with her son, who he gave him the best man at his wedding. And we were following her to work. There was another time we literally walked from Far Rockaway all the way to Howard Beach, where my grandmother lived. There's another time my little brother stopped the A train by putting garbage on the track. There was another time we followed her on a date. Or we would literally go follow her to work and wait for her to get off and come back and pick her up and ride the train home because it was a 2-hour train ride to anywhere in the city from Far Rockaway. Far Rockaway was very desolate and dismal. Any business that was open was robbed every day. Like I can remember they tried to open up a restaurant where it was a buffet. You know, we all love our buffets. And the restaurant was open for 2 weeks, and they were robbed every day for 2 weeks. It eventually became a Dunkin' Donuts and was frequently by the police. So there were no more robberies after that. But that just shows you the neighborhood. The neighborhood was literally a war zone. There was nothing. Nothing. There wasn't a bodega. There wasn't a laundromat. There wasn't a playground. There wasn't, a, a supermarket. And if it was a supermarket, it was blocks and blocks away. I can remember pushing the shopping cart doing laundry. Like, it was a really bad neighborhood. And then being my skin color just made it more difficult to survive in a place like that. But I did. I've gotten myself out, I think. Although I still live in an area, well, it's not as bad. It's definitely improving and being gentrified. Gentrification is a new thing. But the point of this whole story today is that it's not Aunt Rene. I'm sorry I went on a tangent. But it's to point out the fact that I can't see and anybody can literally attack me and I would never see them coming. It's it's really alarming and there's nobody here or no assistance. It's why am I being forced into isolation in everything that I do? I can't be who I want to be if I'm constantly being judged and talked about and sticking out like a sore thumb. They saw me as an easy target. They did. So, a way I thought of being, not subject to fucking beatdowns and bully, being attacked and bullied and made fun of was to join them. Yeah, they made me do stupid things like stand down, in the b-boy stand or, you know, run to the store for them or do their laundry. But that's what made me like black men because that's who I got to know growing up and got to admire. And I was the perfect one to join their clan too. Ms.Joyce brothers. That's what we were called. Because they supplied me with everything and when the cops would come by, they would at least suspect me, a white kid, for not doing anything. So I can easily walk by them when they're doing their raids, the stop and frisk. And it worked. I can remember one of them saying to me, I had to be like 15, 16, and we were standing on the benches, as they typically do. And I don't know what happened, but the conversation led to, say I won't smack you in the head with my dick. And I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get out of my face. He's like, say I won't smack you in the head with my dick. And I was like, okay, whatever. He jumped up on the bench and literally smacked me with his 12-inch dick. And I was like, oh my Christ, it's so big. Then he was able to smack me with it like that. And then everybody started calling me Herb. So, and there was another time one of them got on my nerves. And I told him repeatedly, it was like, it takes a lot to get on my nerves. And when you do, you're going to regret it, and he didn't listen. So I sliced his face open. He saw me again after that, but he never spoke to me. But we still continued to run drugs through their projects together as Ms.Joyce brothers. You see, that's what loyalty is, and I'm not in a gang. Why should I not be entitled to that type of respect? No. I can't see trees anymore. Now that spring is here, I won't be able to see the flowers and the tulips. especially in the park, it's okay. I'm adjusting well, but again, it's very difficult to even record this series, My Life, because I can't see, and the light is so bright. Ms.Joyce brothers. Do you know every one of them is in jail for murder or something else? It's funny. It's so long ago. I'm so old. It's so ironic that I wrote a thesis on The Picture of Dorian Gray, which happens to be my favorite novel. And the world obsessed with youth and beauty, especially here in the gay community. If you didn't look like Brad Pitt, nobody want to ever speak to you. You know, then they even have like special nights dedicated to a special crowd of people, like Bear Night or, Leather Night, or, people over 40. Why do we have to be separated in groups and labeled as something? And you can't just be yourself, and people cannot just accept you for being yourself. What does anything that I have to do have anything to do with that person's hating on me life? Oh my God. Why do they care? Why do they hate? And I say that because, people, when somebody hates somebody, they have such anger and hostility and, but, anger toward that person. But what did I ever do to anyone but want to shine or succeed or given an opportunity to shine? That's what being a soldier is all about. Is you throw them in the situation, and they have no other choice but to learn to adapt and learn to adapt to the situation quickly. I worked in advertising. Oh, I love working in advertising though, because when I work in advertising, it's funny. You thought you were going home at 5. Totally not the case. But I lost that job because my boss essentially was the head of the department, and I was his assistant. Sometimes he would take 3-hour lunches, and I would be in the office like, what? There's nothing going on. Because again, it was before 5 o'clock. And so I was like, okay, well, I can do the same thing. If he takes 3-hour lunches, so can I. So I started taking lunch at the same time he would, and we would both be gone. Little did I know, every single time that I went on lunch, I was being paged and had to go. But I was just starting to get my body in the shape that it was needed and needed to be in the gym, and I would spend that entire 3 hours in the gym. As I said, I did 4 hours at the height. I was lifting 3 plates. That's very impressive. I can't lift 3 pounds. Oh, so funny. I find humor in that. Again, I'm not the same person anymore. My life has been very challenging and difficult. I'm broken in so many pieces. Literally. This is why I say I'm not scared of death. You can't be as more painful as the things that I'm going through at the very moment. I've seen death. I know it's happening, but it's happening very slowly. I'm really sad that I have to end my show. GayTopix. Remember, you're always in a mix with GayTopix. I have to end my show. Something that I really thought would thrive and succeed and take me far. But only to show that it hasn't been what I really expected it to be. I didn't deliver. I couldn't. I'm one man. It's very difficult to do. Somebody can bash me in the head. I would never know. I would never know. I'm trying to teach Bingo how to react in danger being in command. But he shouldn't act aggressively. I want him to act himself, in a formal manner like Bill Clinton did, or like Lassie did. That's what he's supposed to do. Remember, there was a problem at the old mill? And Lancey's in trouble? Me and my dog did that. Kind of like he walked when I walked. So whenever I stopped, he would stop. I didn't have to utter a command. He knew who to speak to and who to be friendly with. He was the best thing in my life. The irony behind it all is that the dog is an inner reflection of you. And here Bill Clinton was so perfect in every way. He's gone. We're still learning with Bingo. After all, he's still a puppy. You're still learning, but he's very intelligent, I can tell you that. So we'll see. And with that, I'm going to end this. This is GayTopix, My Life. I'm Kenny Cruz, your host. #GayTopix. This is my life. My story. My confessions. Real life experiences I have encountered throughout my lifetime. These are true stories. Some people may find what I'm saying disturbing, so viewer discretion advised. All rights reserved. I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, and this is GayTopix, My Life. Have a good one. I can't see there. Oh.